Am I an asshole for refusing to be at my wife's side during childbirth after I learned the baby might not be mine? I'm Alex, 34M, and 3 weeks ago I made the hardest choice of my life. I didn't go to my wife's delivery. We live in Austin, Texas. I'm a network engineer. My wife, Natalie, 32F, is a high school counselor. We've been together 8 years, married 5. Up until this spring, I would have told you we were solid. Not perfect, nobody is, but a team. Shared Google calendars, Sunday Costco runs, split chores, shared playlists for long drives to the hill country. Kids were always a someday soon. We had one false start during COVID, then a reset on our finances and stress levels. Last fall, Natalie surprised me with a little white onesie that said, "Hook M, Daddy." She's a UT alum. I picked her up in the kitchen and spun her, and we both cried. The due date was late June. From the start, Natalie's pregnancy became a family project, and not always in the good way. Her mom, Evelyn, 58F, is the kind of mother who texts daily suggestions that are really directives, which OB to C, her friend's cousin, which prenatal vitamins, the expensive ones from a boutique, which nursery color, no, depressing grays. Evelyn never liked me. She calls me steady like it's a flaw. Her father, Don, is quieter. He mostly follows his wife's lead. Natalie's younger brother, Chris, 29M, is a gym manager with a big heart and zero filter. He's always been decent to me. I mention all this because every decision we made, hospital, birthing class, pediatrician shortlist, came with commentary from Evelyn. I learned to say, thanks, we'll think about it, and then do what worked for us. That worked until it didn't. The first pebble in my shoe showed up in January. Natalie started staying late at school more often, crisis season, scheduling mess, senior panic. All plausible. She's good at what she does, and she's conscientious to a fault. But I noticed mood shifts. She'd get home with that wired-tired energy, toss her bag on the chair, and lock her phone before heading straight to the shower. When I asked how her day was, I got fine, followed by a 1,000-yard stare at the TV. We chalked it up to third trimester exhaustion. Another pebble, a new name, Liam. He's the assistant principal, 37M, came in from Dallas last year. I heard about him here and there. He pushed for wellness programs, brought tacos for the counseling team, super supportive, Natalie said. Then he started popping up in more stories. Liam and I stayed to fix a schedule glitch. Liam's car wouldn't start, so I dropped him at a shop. Tiny stories with an aftertaste. I told myself I was being a jealous idiot. We're adults with coworkers. In March, Natalie and I fought about baby prep. She wanted a $1,200 stroller that turns on a dime. I wanted to put that money toward the emergency fund. We compromised on something mid-range. It was a normal couple fight that left us both prickly. That night, while we sat side by side half watching a show, her phone lit up. "You handled today like a champ. Sorry I made things harder." It was from Liam. I didn't read more. She tilted the phone away, then put it face down. I asked, "Everything okay?" She said, "It's school stuff. Don't make me narrate all my texts." I dropped it, but the pebble was now a rock. Mid-April, things escalated. Natalie had 2 back-to-back evenings, helping a student whose mom kicked her out. Totally plausible. Her job is messy and heartbreaking. On the second night, I got a DoorDash ping. Our account had an order delivered to an address I didn't recognize near East Cesar Chavez. It wasn't ours. We share the account. Sometimes we swap payment methods. The order name said NR. Natalie's initials. I screenshotted it and asked, "Hey, did you accidentally use our DoorDash for someone else's place?" She replied after 20 minutes, "Crap, yeah, I covered dinner for a kid. I'll Venmo you." The address stuck in my head like a splinter. 2 days later, I'm at H-E-B grabbing groceries. As I load the car, I see Natalie across the lot. She told me she was at the school pantry sorting donations. She's with a tall guy in a navy polo, Liam. He's close enough that he could have brushed a leaf out of her hair. They didn't see me. He touched her elbow. Not sexual, but not nothing. They laughed about something I couldn't hear. I didn't confront. I went home, unloaded avocados like they were bombs, and waited for her story. That night she said, "We ran out for snacks." I said nothing. What do you say? Don't laugh in parking lots? At my friend Mateo's, 35M, urging, I did something I hate. I looked at phone records, at calendar deviations, at the address from DoorDash. It matched a small apartment complex. Liam's. I confronted Natalie the next afternoon, finally. I didn't yell. I said, "I'm drowning in coincidences. Please tell me I'm wrong." She went silent long enough that my brain wrote 3 endings. Then she cried. "There's nothing physical. I swear. He's been a lot of support. I didn't want to worry you. We talk. That's it." I said, "At his apartment?" She wiped her face and said she'd gone there after a late home visit because she was scared to drive home tired and needed a friend. It was a terrible answer. She heard it as she said it. She added, "I know how it sounds. It's not what you think." I asked for one thing, no more one-on-one hangouts. She agreed. We scheduled a counseling session, virtual, because everyone's busy being broken. The therapist talked boundaries. Natalie nodded at all the right times. We made a plan. 2 weeks later, a Saturday in May, we had a baby shower at her parents' house. Evelyn made a toast about the kind of father who shows up while looking directly at me. People laughed like it was a sweet mom joke. I tasted bile. After most guests left, I went to move boxes to our car and passed Natalie in the hallway whispering into her phone, "No, not tonight. Please." Our eyes met. She hung up. "Student crisis," she said. I said nothing. I drove a trunk full of onesies and diapers back to our place, feeling like I'd loaded my car with props from a play I might not be in. The implosion happened 10 days before the due date. Natalie forgot her phone on the kitchen island when she ran back to school for an award night she'd promised to attend. I didn't go looking. It buzzed. A preview popped up from Liam. "We need to talk before you deliver." You know why? I stood there, phone buzzing again. I can't sleep knowing there's a 50-50 chance. I picked up the phone like it might burn me. I typed in the passcode she'd given me a million times for music playlists and Instacart. The thread loaded. I scrolled. My heart didn't pound, it went very quiet, like it was listening for something. The messages weren't a novel, they were a confession written in 100 small lines over months. Late-night check-ins that crossed into flirtation. Jokes about co-piloting. A photo of a coffee cup on his porch. A line from 2 nights after the "no more one-on-ones, promise, please don't hate me. I needed to see you." Her reply, "I don't hate you. I hate myself." The worst part wasn't sexts, there weren't any. It was logistics. The date that punched me in the ribs, mid-October, the night she later called a home visit from hell. They talk about meeting after, for a breather. She says she's nauseous and giddy. He says, "I can't stop thinking about you." Fast forward to late November, when she texts him a photo of a positive test, cropped, just the sticks, with, "We'll talk later." Then, "We don't know anything for sure. Don't freak." Then weeks of half conversations about timelines. One of his, due dates aren't exact. One of hers, it was only twice. It can't be, right? Him, we should plan for both outcomes. I put the phone down and sat on the rug, staring at the grain like words might appear there too. When Natalie came home, she saw my face and knew. She started with, "It's not what you," and then stopped, because it was exactly what I thought. She cried, said, "I messed up." It was a weak moment. 2 weak moments. She said she didn't plan to have feelings, it happened. She said she cut it off. She said a lot of things people say when the truth is a wall behind them and they're running in place. I asked the only question that mattered, "Is the baby mine?" She said, "I think so." I said, "Think?" She said the timelines overlapped. She said she'd done the conception calculator and it leaned my way, but she couldn't be 100%. She hadn't told me because she didn't want to ruin the pregnancy. She hadn't told Liam's ex, anything because it was too messy. I asked about a prenatal paternity test, NIPP. She said her OB warned about stress and possible false reassurance, which, okay, NIPP is generally safe but pricey. I'd already Googled it at some point. I said I'd pay. She said she didn't want to poke the bear this late in pregnancy. I said, "You poked the bear when you took a risk that turned me into a question mark." We slept, didn't sleep, in separate rooms. I stared at the popcorn ceiling and counted the nights in a loop. The next morning, I told her my boundary. I would not sign an acknowledgement of paternity at birth. I would not put my name on any birth certificate. I would pay for a paternity test the day the baby was born. I would be respectful, provide a ride to the hospital, make sure she had support. But I wouldn't stand by her bedside playing husband while my head screamed, "Maybe not yours." Natalie broke. "You're abandoning me," she said. "You're punishing me and the baby." I said, "I am refusing to cosplay a father until truth exists." She called Evelyn. Within an hour, I was facing a committee. Evelyn called me a coward and a monster. "Real men show up," she said. Don stood in the doorway with, "Am I an asshole for refusing to adopt my wife's son after learning she lied about who his father is? I'm Marcus, 38M, and I live in Seattle with my wife, Jenna, 36F, and her son, Noah, 7M. I've been in Noah's life since he was 2. I make breakfast, read bedtime stories, go to parent-teacher conferences, coach his t-ball team when they're short a volunteer, basically all the dad stuff except the legal piece." From day one, Jenna said Noah's biological father was irrelevant and gone. She told me he'd taken off when she was pregnant and never looked back. I believed her. I didn't push because I thought pushing meant I didn't trust her. Over the past 5 years, we built a good, ordinary life. I'm a product manager at a mid-sized tech company in South Lake Union. She's a dental hygienist. We bought a 2-bedroom townhouse in Ballard. Thin walls, cranky HOA, but a small patch of patio where Noah and I set up a plastic basketball hoop. Saturdays were coffee and farmer's market. Weeknights were spelling lists and Lego catastrophes. It felt real, solid. Jenna's parents, Diane, 62F, and Victor, 65M, never warmed to me. It's not overt hostility, it's more like I'm a temp filling a permanent role in their minds. Diane calls Noah our miracle and used to call me the helper. Victor's default setting is a tight smile and awkward silence. They're from Olympia, and every visit is a masterclass in passive aggression. Some men just don't have the fatherly instinct, and that's okay. Don't worry, we'll make sure Noah always has family even if careers take priority. I'd grit my teeth and remind myself I wasn't here for their approval. When Jenna and I got married 3 years ago, we talked about adoption. She wanted it. I wanted it too, eventually. My hesitation wasn't about love, it was about timing. We were still paying off wedding costs, and I just switched jobs. I said, "Give me a year, and let's do it the right way." She agreed. A year turned into 2. Life got busy. Then Noah started kindergarten and got invited to a birthday party at a trampoline park. This is where the fuse was lit without me realizing it. During pizza time, a tall guy in his early 30s stood near the door, baseball cap low, eyes flicking around like he was memorizing exits. He kept glancing in our direction. When he caught Jenna's eye, she froze for a fraction of a second, just enough for me to notice. I asked, "You know him?" She said, "He used to live in the neighborhood," and immediately walked Noah to the bathroom like the handoff was a fire drill. On the drive home, I asked who the guy was again. Jenna said, "No one you need to worry about." That phrase stuck to my ribs. No one you need to worry about is exactly who you worry about. 2 weeks later, a letter showed up addressed to Jenna with no return address. I don't open Jenna's mail, but she put this one face down and left for work early. When I got home that night, I found the envelope in the recycling, torn in half, pieces stuffed into a cereal box. The top right of a page was visible. "I'm not trying to blow up your life. I just want to meet him. I can provide child support. I've been sober 18 months. I felt like someone had switched the floorboards in our house for trapdoors. I confronted Jenna that night. Calm at first. "Who wrote the letter?" She said, "Spam." I said, "Spam that knows about sobriety and child support?" Then the fight detonated. She said I was invading her privacy. I said she was detonating our trust. Finally, she said, it's Noah's biological father, okay? His name is Tyler. He's not stable. He wasn't back then. He disappeared, and I handled it. I sat down because my legs were like noodles. Disappeared and handled it were not the same as doesn't exist. I asked why she never told me he'd resurfaced. She said she was scared I'd back out of adopting Noah if I thought a bio dad would complicate things. I said, you lied by omission. She said, I protected our family. We both believed we were telling the truth about ourselves. I needed facts. I asked for the whole story. She told me she and Tyler dated in their early 20s. He drank too much, got in with a rough crowd, and when she got pregnant, he promised to get his act together. Then he didn't. He missed ultrasound appointments, borrowed money, relapsed. At 4 months, she told him she couldn't do it with him. He left. She moved in with her parents, had Noah, went back to school, rebuilt. Last year, out of nowhere, Tyler DM'd her on Instagram. He was in a recovery program. He wanted to make amends. She blocked him. Then he sent the letter through someone who knew her parents. That's how he found our address. I asked, is there any chance Tyler could be not the father? She looked insulted. Marcus, I'm not that person. I said, you're the person who hid a letter, and she flinched. I immediately regretted the tone but not the sentence. The next week, I got an email from Diane inviting us to Sunday dinner, subject line, family discussion. We went. Roast beef, overcooked green beans, and an agenda. Diane started with a prayer about forgiveness. Victor stared at a water ring on the table. Then Diane slid a manila folder toward me, a printout of a template petition for adoption, sticky notes marking where I would sign. We've waited long enough to make Noah safe, she said. You're either in this or you're not. I said, I'm in Noah's life. I'm not signing anything until we address the Tyler situation. Diane's smile died on her face. Tyler is a ghost, she said. Don't invite ghosts to dinner. I said, he's sober and asking for a conversation. Victor finally spoke, men like that don't change. I looked at him and asked, what do you know about men like that? He didn't answer. He just folded his arms tighter and stared at his plate like he could will me out of existence. Diane raised her voice, Marcus, you've been circling this for years. You either love Noah enough to make it official, or you don't. He needs stability. I said, he has stability. He has me. But I'm not going to sign legal papers while you're hiding Tyler's existence like some dirty secret. Jenna finally broke in, please, stop. Marcus, you're acting like this is about you. It's about Noah. He deserves a father who claims him. That word, claims, hit me wrong. I've claimed Noah every day for 5 years. With lunches, with scrape-knee band-aids, with bedtime stories I half fell asleep reading. Claiming him was never the issue. The issue was trust, and the fact that the family had built a wall of silence around Tyler while pushing me to sign a lifetime contract. The dinner ended with slammed doors and Diane hissing that I was selfish. We drove home in silence, Noah humming in the back seat with his leftover cupcake, blissfully unaware that the adults around him were detonating. That night, Jenna cornered me in our bedroom. She was shaking, her eyes bloodshot. Marcus, I need you to understand. Tyler being around would ruin Noah. He doesn't need to know there's some other man who abandoned him. You're his dad. You've always been his dad. I said, then why lie? Why not trust me with the truth from the start? She started crying. Because I was terrified you'd leave. And now, look, if you won't sign those papers, maybe you never really wanted Noah at all. That shattered me. I told her flat out, don't you dare use him like a pawn. I love that boy more than anything, but I will not let you, or your parents, bully me into signing adoption papers under false pretenses. Since then, it's been Cold War in our house. Diane keeps texting me links about the importance of father figures. Victor sent me one sentence, do right by the boy. Jenna alternates between begging me to just sign and icing me out completely. And Noah, sweet Noah, keeps asking when we can go shoot hoops again, and I keep showing up for him because none of this is his fault. The kicker? A week ago, Tyler himself emailed me. Don't ask me how he found my work email. He wrote, I know you're Noah's stepdad. I'm not trying to take your place. But he deserves to know the truth one day. If you ever want to talk, here's my number. I haven't responded. But I keep staring at it. Because as much as I hate the chaos, he's not wrong. One day, Noah will ask questions. And what do I say then? Everyone lied to you, but it was for your own good? Now Jenna's accusing me of stalling and says she won't feel secure in our marriage until I make it official. But I can't bring myself to sign. Not because I don't love Noah, but because I feel like I've been manipulated into being the solution to someone else's lies. So here I am, the man who makes pancakes on Saturdays, who fixes broken Lego castles, who shows up at every school play, and still, I'm painted as the villain for refusing to sign a piece of paper. So, am I the asshole for refusing to adopt my wife's son after learning she lied about who his father is?